welcome to another video right here on febuilds. We are under the JK Jeep Wrangler aka Mando, and as you can see, this old sump pan is actually quite beaten up and rusted, and in some points, if you look very closely, it's cracked. So I checked the prices of getting a new Mopar sump pan, and it actually worked out cheaper to buy the PPE one, which looks much more fancy. So that's what we did, and we'll be installing it today. But when I was down here, I discovered a leak in the upper section of the sump gasket, right over there. And you can see there's some silicone sticking out over there. It needs to be sealed up nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking off this section over here, so that we can take off the upper section of the sump. We're also going to take off this section over here, take off these bolts. And to make this video short, I'll just show you as we go through each stage and as we're putting back the gaskets. In my case, I'm not as privileged as the others to have gotten those gasket setting pieces that you just screw in and it holds the gasket in place. So I'm going to have to do some acrobatics over here to get this done under the vehicle without it being lifted up. And hopefully we win. Hopefully all goes well. These bolts are a bit rusted. I hope we're not going to have any issue getting them out. Step 1, drain the oil. Okay, so this is the color of the oil that's coming out. Okay, and that's filled up quickly. Quicker than I thought. I thought it would get much more in there, in that oil pan. But this is the color of the oil that's come out. I assume that's partly to do with the Cerakote that we put in. Okay, so we're going to drain the rest of the oil. The other catch can said 15 liters. I've only put 6 in there, but it seems to be full already, so we'll just use this. Doesn't seem like there's any shavings on this. I'll just stop the camera and put on the lighting. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any shavings on this, but then again, I don't think this is a magnetic sump plug. Okay, so the section cover over here for the bell housing is off, and it's a bit wet in there. I hope that's not the rear main seal. It looks like it's coming from the back of this gasket. So it's actually good we're changing it out. Okay, so I finally got the whole sump pan and the upper sump off. And as you can see, it's open and there's the pickup, and we cleaned that out too. We took off the gasket and we cleaned up nicely, and we cleaned the surfaces so that when we put the new gasket on and the silicone in the 4 corners, it would mate properly with the surface. And one thing we also did was remove the dipstick, so that when we put back the upper section of the sump and the sump pan, it didn't get destroyed. So that would be the last thing to get put in. But as you can see in the pickup, there's one small deposit in there, so I had to take the pickup off, clean it out nicely, and when I did that, I also changed the O-ring on the pickup section that connects in and goes to the oil pump. So we're going to prep this surface for the new gasket to go on. Okay, so one thing that I did when it was open over here was also just check that the bearings are good, and I checked the clearances, checked for any play over there. It's one thing that you should do while it's open, so it saves you from wasting a whole lot of oil and another gasket. And I actually found everything to be quite good, and I took a good close look at those pistons. It's not included in this video. I zoomed in, checked everything in there, and I was quite happy, so I moved on. So silicone goes over there at that section, and at that section over there, I don't know if you can even see that. So over there you need to put silicone, over there you need to put silicone or gasket maker. Over there you also need to put gasket maker, and also over there RTV, oil resistant, and that goes hand in hand with the actual gasket that goes on here, because if you just put it straight on, apparently it'll still leak. So we want to prevent any leaks, and since we're doing this, we want to do the oil change once and for all. We're going to clean the surface up so nice and clean, and we'll put the silicone on, and also clean this section down here nice and clean. I'm going to take this out with the sump cover and or the sump pan connected to it, and we'll disconnect it from this section when it's off and out of the way, because it's very difficult to do it under here. And I'll also show you the oil that remains in there. So here that is. It sits sort of up, about 10 millimeters up, and when the car's level, that's how much oil remains in there. When the car is sort of tilted back, a lot more comes out, but there's still that little that remains in there. So the aftermarket one is definitely a bit better. If I should take that out and compare them once I get the sump pan off. But yeah, we want to get to a situation where we can drain most of the oil with ease. Okay, and the oil looks a bit brownish like that. It's not because it's mixing with water. There is Ceratec in there, and this is the new sump. The difference that we notice is this has these fins inside to help cooling the oil, and also to prevent sloshing. And also, if you look at the drain plug over there, it's got a neodymium magnet. I believe if I put something metal over there, it's gonna sort of cling to it. Yeah, you see that. Over here, if you look at this, there's almost like a centimeter clearance, even if the car's at an angle. Like I'm lifting this up at an angle. Even if you put the car up at an angle, there's always going to be that amount of oil caught there. So that's something to just note. So the previous sump pan was really stuck on there with the RTV and the silicone, and it had to be cleaned off. And I never had the tools, so what I did do was use some cleaner, and also I took a Dremel and I had a rubber brush, and I used that to just brush off all the silicone. So over here, the video that you're seeing is not yet fully clean, but it's through the process. So I went through about 10 stages of cleaning that up, and I made sure it's nice and clean and smooth, so that when we actually made the two surfaces, it seals perfectly. Okay, so under the engine where the intermediate gasket sits, I actually did the same thing. I used a sharp blade, and then I cleaned it up nicely. I used some certain cleaning agents and also a rubber brush just to get off all the silicone, and cleaned up the surface nicely, so that when the new gasket gets put on and the RTV in those four corners, it all just mates nicely and it creates a proper seal, so that we don't have another issue of oil leaking out. Okay, so the intermediate gasket is on, the new one, and we put some silicone on the four corners. There's some silicone in this corner, our gasket maker in this corner, in that corner up there, and in that corner there, where there's joints. Over here, it's where the rear main seal sits. And at the front there, it's where the crankcase cover sits on the bottom. And it's all been torqued down, and what we did is we torqued in a star kind of formation, crisscrossing,
we first put them on, tightened the bolts till they were just hand tight, and then we started to torque them in a crisscross formation. Now we're going to get the PPE Sump Pan and we'll put it on. We also cleaned the pickup and we put a new O-ring up there, and we torqued that bolt down.
Now, what I'm going to show you might look a bit disappointing, but there's a reason why I did this. When you actually clamp down and torque down the sump pan, the excess silicone gets pushed out, and many people let that dry, then they cut it with a blade so it's nice and neat. I wanted to make sure that it's properly sealed, so instead of waiting for it to dry and cut it off, I simply just took my finger and just rubbed it along the surface, made sure it's sealed properly and it's actually going all the way around, and left it like that. And the good news is, as I am putting this together, it's been a couple of weeks now and I've tested the car in different scenarios and haven't had a leak yet, so it's nice and dry under there, so that's a good thing.
Okay, and just like that, the PPE oil pan or sump pan is installed. You can see it's got the fins, and it was quite a thorough video. We actually went in depth and compared the OEM one to this one, and hopefully this helps. And I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that no oil will leak. That'll be part of this video. I'm hoping that we did this well, especially up here where the joints need to go, and the silicone, and down here at the back there's silicone. I'm hoping that we did it right. Likewise at the back here, where you can see some silicone, and also here, this is where it was leaking last time. Let's find my bearings over here. Hoping that we got it right, so let's see. We're gonna put this bell housing cover back, and we're gonna torque it down. There was a bit of like oil on the side there. I don't know if it's oil or just silicone, but this is how it looks all around. And this is also a benchmark, so that when I come back and look at this, I can tell if oil is spilt. I'll most probably record another video after we take out this oil filter, because it will most probably spill over there and mess the place. So we'll be looking for active leaks after that. Maybe I'll put the oil filter on, let the silicone dry, and then just wipe it down with some oil cleaner. Okay, so new filter has been fitted, new intermediate sump gasket, that's the upper pan over there, has been fitted, and the new PPE sump pan has been fitted. I just need to put the bell housing back, and we just need to give this some time for all the silicone and everything to dry, and we'll clean it up nicely before we put oil in, like especially over here where the oil filter dripped some oil. We'll clean it up nicely so that we can actually see if it's leaking or not. Okay, now we're going to put some oil in. I'm going to fill this up. I gave it a couple of hours to dry. Let's fill this thing up.
In the video here, you see me wipe that small drop of oil off with my hand, but I actually got back and cleaned it up nicely with a nice rag. Okay, so as at the time of finishing editing this video, it's been a couple of weeks, and I've had a time to test this out, see if anything's leaking, and the good news is there is no oil leak so far. So that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more mods.